I'm Chastity Radonovich. I've known, Pastor and Kalita since I was slim. That's what Pastor used to call me. I put on some weight since then. But I've known him for about 25 years, I think. It's been a while. But man, they are some awesome people. Extremely pivotal in my life. I'm 31, so I've kind of been around the block. But I had to wear my shoes. Pastor always says I have crazy shoes. I had to make, they had to stand out a little bit, so that's for you. But yeah, so I just want to get up here and just say I appreciate you guys. I've grown up with Silas, Simeon, Shantae, all of them. And it's just, I got to thinking, I don't write notes for speeches. I just say what's on my heart, pray about it, hope for the best. But honestly, this church, just Pastor and Kalita, there's nobody like Pastor. I've literally been to Tulsa, to Oklahoma City, to these churches, and I think my flesh wants to go, I'm young. There's no man in here for me. So I want to, get out there. But I'm like, I get out there, and I'm sitting in the pew, and I'm looking, I'm like, wow, this is a good concert, it's a good show, but nothing's happened on the inside. And then I go out and tempted to do the same stuff. So it doesn't really get to me. If you're not stepping on my toes, making me feel uncomfortable, it doesn't really do anything. And so I always come back to Pastor. And I can't leave. So I carry him in my spirit, in my heart, in my decisions. He's always been there for me and my family, and he dedicated my son. I have an 8-year-old. He baptized me. And when you come to church, it's like, what are you coming for? What does church even mean? When I come to church, I want to feel comfortable in my spirit. I want to be fed. I want to be challenged. And I want someone to lead. I could close my eyes and just listen, and I feel like he would lead me through fire without question. So that's what church means to me. When you come, you want to have people to love, people to care about you. And who, as I was listening, who takes care of the pastor? What does pastor mean to us? Everything. What does Kalita mean to us? Everything. But who really takes the time to take care of them? They have God, but they're also human. They're not just pastors. So today's about them. I don't want to get on my soapbox and preach because I will. But I really appreciate you guys. We love you. And you guys mean the world. And, you guys, when I have any questions, I always come to Pastor, and I always fall back on him, whether I'm trying to argue with somebody or not. Like, in my spirit, I know if I'm going through a trial, it's going to be okay. It doesn't matter, because at the end, nobody can separate us from God. No, nobody. Not human, not Satan, not presidents, nothing. So you can feel down and sad and depressed, but at the end, what really matters? What you're fed with and what you believe in, and God is still on the throne. He'll always be on the throne. Nobody can take his place, so that's what gives me peace, and you as a family as well. So thank you.
Well, Pastor, got a couple of things. One, congratulations. We're proud of you. And two, thank you. Thank you for committing your past 25 years to not only this church, but this community. And it's greatly appreciated. When we merged 8 years ago, I guess, I didn't know Pastor at that time. And it was come to find out we have a lot of things in common. We both have a pretty rough upbringing there, and we've really become good friends, and I appreciate that a lot. We, as many of you know, we serve out of the prison. We go out there once a month, and we take a message out there to the guys that are incarcerated, and it's the ministry, it's the reaching the lost, it's sharing the gospel. That's what's most important, and that's what his heart is, and that's what we appreciate about you. And Kalita is such a beautiful person, and we so appreciate you as well. It's been a joy to merge churches. You hear a lot about churches that split and they go their separate ways, and they just divide because of whatever reason. And we've had a church that's merged, and we've done well, and that is because you guys are great people and great pastors. I guess since Brother McDowell wasn't here, we got a couple extra minutes, right? Could I tell a story? Got a little time. So, last night, Pastor and I went out to the prison, and we had a great meeting out there last night. We had 103 inmates in that little chapel. 103. We had Brother Dixie Pebworth with us, which he was a childhood friend of Pastor's. They were best friends in 5th grade, and he was with us. And he shared his testimony last night, and we had a great service. We seen a great altar call. We ministered to several men out there, and generally whenever we get in the truck to leave, we're in the prison, we use a sanitizing hand wipe, and clean our hands, and I had a package that had one in it, and so Pastor said, "Man, there's only one in here." I said, "Well, go ahead, it's all right." He tore it in half, and it's like, it wasn't quite enough, But he said, and I think he told you guys a story about a trustee down at the courthouse that had gotten into some hand sanitizer and got a little tipsy and got himself in some trouble over this hand sanitizer. And Pastor said, "Hey, I've got a bottle of hand sanitizer you can put in your truck, and that way we'll have it whenever we come out of the prison." It's like, okay. We get there, and Pastor goes in and gets it and comes back out, and he says, "Smell of that stuff." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, man, it smells just like alcohol." I mean, not rubbing alcohol either. I'm talking about alcohol, maybe some Everclear or something. I just remember that from back in the day, right? So it was very, very strong. And so I tried some of it. Man, that guy drank this stuff, And so we laughed and talked a little bit, and Pastor said, "Here, let me hold that." And he squeezes the bottle, and it runs all over the bottle. And it's like, man, this stuff is strong. It's really strong. Put the lid on it. We were laughing, and I told him, "Man, if I get pulled over on the way home, I'm going to go to jail." It was strong. Okay. So we say our goodbyes. See you in the morning. And I take off, and I call Angie, and I said, "Hey, you eat dinner?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." So I said, "Well, I'm going to swing by Brahms and get me something to eat." So I go through Brahms. It's 9:30, quarter to 10. And there's a car in front of me, and so I turn my headlights off, so I'm not blinding them because they're in a little car and my headlights are shining right in on them. It's, I can lighten them up. So I turn the lights off. But when I leave, I pull out, I realize my lights are still off once I get out from under the bright lights of the store there. And so I flip my lights on, and I see in my rearview mirror a police car. Turn its lights on and flip around and falls in behind me, and I'm thinking, no way. They followed me from Brahms right here in front of the church. They lit me up, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness. This young lady walks up and she says, "Can I see your driver's license?" And I said, "Could I ask you what I done?" And she said, "Yeah, you were driving without your headlights on." And I said, "Yeah, well, I said, I was in Brahms, and I told her the story." She said, "Let me see your driver's license, please." "Yes, ma'am." So I give her my driver's license. She said, "Where's your insurance?" I said, "Man, I don't know. I'm digging around for it, And she says, "Have you been drinking?" "I've been drinking." I said, "No, ma'am." I said, "As a matter of fact, me and my pastor just got back from the prison. We've been ministering tonight." And she said, "Okay, well, where's your insurance?" She don't believe me. So I'm digging for it. She said, "Well, I'll run it while I'm running your license." And I find it, and she walks back up and she says, "Are you sure you haven't been drinking?" She said, "I smell something." And I busted out laughing. I said, "Oh my gosh." And I grabbed that bottle. And she said, "Has that been opened?" And I said, "Yeah." "Yes, it has." And so she's holding the bottle. She's trying to read it. And she says, "I need you to step out of the truck." Okay. So in front of the church. 2 cop cars got me lit up. They get me out and they tell me, all right, so we're going to do a little sobriety test here. Of all things, right? And so while she's in her car, though, I tried to call the pastor. He didn't answer. I sent him a text message. And I tried to call him again. He didn't answer. Oh no, man, this is bad. So she comes, she does the sobriety test, and then they kind of ease up on me, and they start kind of laughing. And I said, man, right there's the church, call pastor if you don't believe me. She said, well, I don't know him. I was like, oh man, he one cop in town that he doesn't know. And so, fortunately, I passed the test. I wasn't so nervous that I failed the test and I let it go. But just some of the things we get into. So, it's kind of thinking maybe, I might have to start looking for another church pastor. Just kidding. Not really. It's a joy. It's a joy to serve with you guys. It's a joy to be a part of this church. And just know that we love you and we appreciate you guys.